Good day, everyone. I'm David Paul. I'm the Managing Director of VectorVest in the UK. VectorVest ranks and sorts all of the shares in the London stock market by value, safety of earnings, and trend. And at the outset, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to a seminar that I'm running in London on July 27th, where I'll show you from 10 o'clock until about 3 o'clock in the afternoon how to manage your portfolio in a few minutes an evening. Here's what we're looking at. And on the next slide, it tells you exactly what VectorVest feels is important. VectorVest believes that every investor should know what's a share really worth, how safe is it, and when to buy, sell, or hold. And we favor undervalued shares. So at VectorVest, we want to try and find shares that are undervalued, that are growing their earnings safely, that are rising, and very importantly, we want to buy them into a general market that's rising. And on the next slide, the importance of the general market is emphasized by our founder, Dr. Bartolillo. He says that being on the wrong side of the market is the worst thing that can happen to an investor, and it doesn't have to happen to you. And this was amply illustrated in the UK and in the American markets over the last 6 to 9 months. In October, November, December, the market was falling. It was virtually impossible to make any money by buying stocks. The Fed blinked in December and the general market rose from January, February, March, April into the first week of May, and it was really easy to make money by buying stocks. So direction's really, really important. So to manage your portfolio in a few minutes a day, look for undervalued stocks that are growing their earnings safely, that are rising, and we want to buy them when the general market is rising. The next slide summarizes the general market in the UK, and that's the situation over the last 9 months. We had that you might be able to see that red triangle way back at the start of the chart in October. Market sold off heavily. 9th of January, a little green triangle, and the market has been running up ever since. And as I speak today, the longest measure of the trend in the UK is up. We're at a very important resistance level, and the market's been up there 4 times over the last 2 years. So it's got a lot of work to do to get through those levels. But at the moment, the trend is up. So what shares do we buy? Well, on the next slide, I speak and will speak on July the 27th about the safety of the financial performance. We call that relative safety, and it's the key to a worry-free portfolio. A portfolio that you can keep under control in a few minutes every evening and still outperform the market. We want the RS to be high, we want earnings to be strong, we want the earnings growth rate to be well above inflation and interest rates. So on the next slide, I'll show you exactly what you have to do to make this happen. Relative safety is vital in this particular plan. It looks at earnings consistency, looks at the company size, it looks at price behavior, looks how long the share's been around, it looks at dividend history, it looks at all the financial ratios. And in the next slide, that's the process, folks. When the general market is rising, we simply buy 10 diversified high RS stocks, no more than 2 from any one part of the economy. These stocks with a high RS are very robust, and very rarely will you get stopped out of one of those shares when the general market is rising. If you should, then resort and buy something you haven't got. So when the general market is rising, as it is at the moment, you should be fully invested. Now, sooner or later, the general market will sell off, as it did last October, and simply stop buying shares. You're much more likely to get stopped out of a share in that type of market. And if you are stopped out, you actually build a cash position. When the next confirmed up signal occurs, resort and go back to being fully invested. Now, during the course of 2019, since they confirmed up on the 9th of January, there hasn't been anything to do. And in the next slide, that's the performance, folks. Since the 9th of January, there's been no trading. That's the top 15 shares by relative safety, and those shares have doubled what the market has done with no trading whatsoever, and that's not counting dividends. I haven't added any dividends into that mix. Now, on July, in central London, July the 27th in central London, I'll be looking at our worry-free trading plan, and that's a great place to start. If you're new to the stock market, that's a great place to start. If you haven't been getting the results in the stock market that you would like. And I'll also be talking about several more aggressive trading plans, momentum trading plans that you can put into practice with a small amount of money. So on Saturday the 27th of July in central London, it's just by Regent's Park. We start at 10, we go to 3. How to fast track your investments, how to manage your investments in 10 minutes a day, and my little credo: don't avoid risk, ladies and gentlemen, manage it, and I'm going to show you how to manage it in 10 minutes an evening. Look forward to meeting you all. Thank you.